Friction is caused by the irregularities on the two surfaces in contact. Even those surfaces which appear very smooth have a large number of minute irregularities on them. Irregularities on the two surfaces lock into one another. When we attempt to move any surface, we have to apply a force to overcome interlocking. On rough surfaces, there are a large number of irregularities. So the force of friction is greater if a rough surface is involved. We see that the friction is caused by the interlocking of irregularities in the two surfaces. It is obvious that the force of friction will increase if the two surfaces are pressed harder. You can experience it by dragging a mat when nobody is sitting on it, when a person is sitting on it. So what they are telling here is, children, by few activities we understood that the friction completely depend on the surface of the surface. So irregularities of the two surfaces means, they have given a very best example here. You just pull a carpet on the floor. On the floor means which is rough, of course. So what happens is, if the object surface is also rough and on which the object is moved, that surface also rough means, so when you are rubbing two rough surfaces, what will happen means, children, the interlocking, if the surface is not smooth means it is irregular. It has some irregularities. Rough surface, it has irregularities on it. So the both the object and the surface both are rough means, children. Rough surface means when you rub each other, what happens? The irregularities of the surfaces present in both object and the floor will get interlocked. They interlock and it will be difficult for us to move. See, when they get interlocked, I cannot move my hands. So it is very difficult to move such objects. And in such case, what you need to do? You need to apply more force in order to overcome the frictional force. So simply if you drop a carpet on the floor and try to push, it is little difficult to push. Why? Because the irregularities on the road or on the floor, rough floor, and the irregularity of the carpet will interlock, and hence it will create more force, which is making us difficult to pull the carpet towards us. But if you apply still more force upon that two surfaces, it will be still more difficult for you to push the carpet. They are telling this example. If you to push the carpet itself, we are applying more force. But if you make a person sit on the carpet and then pull means, what will happen? The irregularities will get interlocked. I said no. That force will be still more stronger, so that it is very difficult for you to push the person as well as the carpet towards you. That is what will happen, children. You can experience it by dragging a mat when nobody is sitting on it and when a person is sitting on it. So in figure 8.6 you can see you have to push on the box to keep it moving. I gave you the example of the wooden block. If you are applying less force means you cannot move. Why? Because the frictional force is more than the external force what you are applying. In order to overcome it, the force which you are applying should be more than the frictional force present. Then only the object starts to move or slide, children. That is what they are telling there. Recall your experience when the last time you moved a heavy box from one place to another. If you have no such experience, get the experience now. What is easier, to move the box from rest or to move when it is already in motion? Which is easy for you? So if it is at rest, to push it is difficult for you, or if at all some object is coming towards you, to stop it is easy for you, is the question. The force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest is a measure of static force. On other hand, if the the force required to keep the object moving with same speed is a measure of sliding friction. So here you are introduced to new two terms, children, that is static friction and sliding friction. These definitions you will have to learn it. Static friction means it is the force. Of course, both are the force. How do you define it? Means static. The word itself will tell you. Static means rest, stationary. It is not moving. So static friction is defined as the force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest. So it is the force required to overcome the friction. The best example is, again, consider the example of the wooden block which is placed on the floor and you are trying to push it. So static friction means the frictional force which is present between the surface of the wooden block and the floor, which is stopping the motion of the object. So in order to move the object, you have to overcome this static friction. Means the force which you are applying should be greater than the static friction. Then only the object will start to move. So static means rest, children. So it is defined as the force required to overcome the friction at the instant an object starts moving from rest. When object starts to move from rest, Andra, it has overcome the static friction. Means it is no more at rest, it has started to move. That is static friction. Sliding friction means, you know, sliding, moving, all that. The force required to keep the object moving with same speed is called the sliding friction. So if you push the object on the rough surface, it may move to some distance and stop. But when you push the same wooden block on the smooth surface or a slippery surface, the distance covered by it is more, children. So sliding friction is a force which is used to keep the object in motion. That is called the sliding friction. When the box starts sliding, the contact points on its surface do not get enough time to lock onto the contact points on the floor. So the sliding friction is slightly smaller than the static friction, and you find it somewhat easier to move the box already in motion than to get it started. So what they are telling is, when the box starts sliding, that when you have overcome the static friction, the sliding friction comes to play and the box has started to move. The contact points on its surface do not get enough time to lock onto the contact points of the floor. We said no, the irregularities get interlocked so that it will be difficult for us to move. But if you are continuously moving, children, there will be no time for those surfaces to get interlocked. So it will be continuously moving. So the sliding friction is slightly smaller than the static friction. Then you will find it somewhat easier to move the box which is already in motion than to get it started. So if at all the object is moving, then to continue to move it is very easy. But if something having is rest and if you are trying to push it, then it is difficult. Why? Because static friction is less when sliding friction is lesser when compared to the static friction. This is very important concept. Please underline it in your textbook. Next is friction, a necessary evil. Recall now some of your experiences. Is it easier to hold an earthen pot, that is kulhar, earthen pot or a glass tumbler? Suppose the outer surface of the tumbler is greasy or has a thin layer of cooking oil in it. Would it become easier or more difficult to hold it? Just think, would it be possible to hold the glass at all if there is no friction? So just think, if I give you an earthen pot to hold and one glass tumbler or a bowl to hold, so which is easier for you? Of course the earthen pot. Why? It has rough surface. It has rough surface, so friction between your hand and that earthen pot is firm and you can hold it firmly. But in the same place, if I give you a glass bowl or a tumbler to hold at the same time, what will happen, children? You have that fear that you may drop it down. Why? Because the glass has a smooth surface. That too they are telling, if it is greasy, means if I apply grease or oil to the tumbler and ask you to hold, as soon as you hold this, it will be so slippery that you will drop it down and it will break into pieces. So, would it be possible to hold the glass if at all there is no friction? So, if friction illa andre, how can you hold not tumbler? Nothing you can hold in your hand. If I am able to write on the board with the chalk, children, it is due to the frictional force. If there was no frictional force, it was very difficult. I could not write on the board. You couldn't hold anything. You couldn't walk easily. Just imagine life without the frictional force. Recall also how difficult it is to move on a wet muddy track or a wet marble floor. Can you imagine being able to walk at all if there were no friction? No. Yes, no. That's just now I said it is very difficult for us to walk even when there is no friction. Just to imagine there is no frictional force at all. So whole road or whatever seems to be slippery for you. How many times would you fall and get up? Just imagine. So frictional force is very important role, children. You could not write with pen or pencil if there was no friction. It is similar to the thing what I said with writing on the board with the help of a chalk. So when your teacher is writing with chalk on blackboard, its rough surface rubs off some chalk particles with a stick to the blackboard. Could it happen if there were no friction between the chalk and board? No, it could not be possible. Figure 8.7, a nail is fixed on the wall due to friction. Yes, you are able to fix a nail onto the wall, of course due to the frictional force. Next, to continue with, if an object started moving, it would never stop if there were no friction. Had there been no friction between the tires of the automobiles and the road, they could not be started or stopped or turned to change the direction of motion. Yes, no, how difficult it is. Without frictional force, you could not start to move the vehicle. Without frictional force, you cannot bring any vehicle to rest by applying the brake. Without frictional force, you couldn't change the direction. Means you couldn't take a turn. Why? Because the frictional force between the tire and the surface of the road matters, children. So, without that, taking a turn with the vehicle or walking on the floor, writing with pen or pencil, holding some object with the grip or taking the turn, bringing the vehicle to rest, nothing could be possible without the presence of this frictional force. So without friction, no building could be constructed. Yes, no, it is very important thing. On other hand, the friction is an evil too. So now we are saying thanks to the frictional force. Why? Because we are able to carry out so many things. We are able to survive because of frictional force. Say thank God. But suddenly they are telling frictional force is an evil as well. Why do you think it is an evil? What disadvantages are there with this frictional force that we call it as an evil? So, it wears out the materials, whether they are screws, ball bearings or soles of shoes. So, they are telling children it wears out the materials, of whether they are screws, ball bearing or soles of shoes. You might have seen worn out steps or foot over bridges at railway station. They have given the picture of the shoe soles which has been cut due to the friction. More friction is more. If you step a nail wearing the shoes, your shoe sole may cut. Yes, no. So all these are they are telling it is due to due to all this they are telling friction force is an evil as well. Friction can also produce heat. Yes, you have done right from your childhood. Rubbing your palm vigorously will generate heat. Why do you tell? No, it is due to the frictional force. How do you feel when you strike a matchstick against a rough surface, it catches fire? Yes, no, when you just fire a matchstick, the frictional force is present between the match box and the matchstick, which helps it in catching the fire. You might have observed that the jar of a mixer becomes hot when it is run for a few minutes. You can cite various other examples in which friction produces heat. In fact, when a machine is operated, heat generated causes much wastage of energy. We shall discuss the ways of minimizing the friction in the following section. So, this is the basic example, children, where we can understand that the rubbing vigorously your palms will generate the heat because there is frictional force present between my two hands, which is generating heat due to the friction. Similarly, if you run any electrical appliances for a long time, you can see it gets heated up. If you charge your mobile for a long time, or when you charge, you just touch the surface of the charger, it will be warm, it will be hot. Even when you run the fan for the long time, just touch the regulator, you can sense the heat. In all these cases, do you think frictional force is going and rubbing there? Yes, children, nothing is going and rubbing there, of course, but the energy is getting wasted, their energy is spent, and more energy is wasted. So why is it happening? So it is process. Yes, it's this has been explained by the scientist named Joule. You have heard, no, Joule's law. So Joule's law of heating, which you will be studying in higher classes, that gives you an idea why this energy is wasted or dissipated in heating the object, what actually is happening there. All that you will study in higher classes, children. So in today's session, we studied what are the situations in daily life we are coming across where frictional force is present, and what are the factors on which this frictional forces depend, what is static friction, what is sliding friction, and various very interesting activities we studied as well. And we also studied about the disadvantages of frictional force as well. In the next class, how to increase or decrease the friction we shall discuss, children. Till then, please read the textbook once again. I will be sending the notes in the, I will be updating the notes in my Google Drive link. So please complete the notes and keep it ready.